Hi guys, the Boring Engineer here, back with another lockpicking video. Today I've got the Iseo Perfecta, which has a pretty wild looking keyway and a, focus up, wild looking key. Pretty intimidating, especially for us folks in the US who don't see stuff like this too often. But it's a pretty surprising lock. You have to pick it 360 degrees, and there's some surprises along the way. And I'm going to be picking it actually with a screwdriver and some other bits of junk. The first thing to know is there is a central plunger that has to be depressed the entire time you pick. So that has to be held down, and we can use the screwdriver for rotation on the core for tension and to hold that plunger down. So then we're going to use this junky Chinese Z-bar to press some pins down. There are 4 of them, 1 in each corner of the lock here. And we're going to have to visit them each at least twice. And I'll show you why that is if we get this thing open. And I'm just pressing these, and every time I get where I want to be, I can feel a little bit of rotation on the core. And this is real awkward around the camera, and with my vise not held down, but okay, we got it. So now we are freely rotating. And now there's actually a trap pin down here in the very bottom that will catch the outside pins as we pass if we don't block that. So what we need to do is introduce this little bit of bent wire. I'll show you guys real quick. It's just like I said, it's just a bit of bent wire. I shaved it down so it fits nice and small alongside my screwdriver, so I didn't have to make any modifications to my screwdriver or anything. And then I'm just going to press down on that pin. Make sure I'm on it. And then I got to get that plunger back in, and then I can rotate, and hopefully we'll get past that trap pin here, like that. Great. Cool. So now we are not quite 180 degrees, and I need to pull all my tools out. And now we have 2 pins to pick. And then we'll rotate a little further and have an additional 2 pins to pick. So I just gotta be easier with my my vise mounted, but it's not right now. So it's a little wobbly. Okay, so now we've gotten a little further rotation and gotten those second additional pins are now set. So we need to pick them up. More rotation there. Come on. There we go. Okay. So now, again, I am free, and I need to introduce that wire again to stop the trap pin from catching us out as we rotate. So we'll press that plunger in hard and spin it around past the trap pin. And that's it. We're 360 degrees rotated. So we can show that by putting the key right back in and see it works. So now that we've got that, let's open this thing up and take a look at how it works and why it's not very difficult to get open here. I'm going to put that there for a moment. Alright, let's take a look at this guy. So on the back there's just 2 screws holding this plate on. There is a spring, or several springs, so you'll have to apply a bit of pressure. I'll put that thing there. Downward pressure when you're opening this guy up, otherwise you will have a jack-in-the-box. Come on, focus, camera. There you go. Alright, so we got those. Now we can take this cover plate off. I prefer to just slowly take it off, sneak a finger in there to hold the core in place. You can remove the cover plate. And then there's this spring, and that's what you're fighting against, and using that screwdriver is to drive this central actuator it's the cam actuator that would actually move the bolts on the door. So that comes out next, and let's slide over a little bit here. Oops, gotta loosen, not tighten. Alright, so now the whole core can come out. What I like to do is, again, take my little screwdriver here, push it into that hole, and just slide the whole thing out. I find that's about the tightest way to get it. Of course, if your screwdriver doesn't get stuck. So this shell is just a shell. There's nothing holding anything in place on that. The locking mechanism is all contained within these 2 little cylinders. So if we slowly pull this apart, we will see what's going on here. Come on, stay in your right places. Okay, we'll look at the bottom first. So here we can see these are spring pins, and this is that trap pin I was talking about that will interact with these outers if you don't have something to stop that from happening. So these got really long springs on them, as you can see. There's 5 of those. On the actual, I don't know what you call this, core, I guess, we have 4 pins. There are holes for 2 additional pins that would be, I think, just warding pins to make it harder to get to these. But in this case, I guess we didn't get those. So we can just use our Z-bar. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually 1, 2, 3, 4. How about that? And let's just use our Z-bar here to... And we could probably just drop them out. What do you think? Yeah, that worked well. Alright, so 1. Shoot, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. Keep switching around here. Note that the narrow part actually sticks up. That's what the key interacts with, not the thicker part. And I'll show you guys why that is in a minute here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and why we have to pick multiple times. Let's see if I can get this to work. You see that little ledge there. So we get just a little bit of a set on these pins as they drop in there, and you get a little bit of a false set, and then proper set the next time you get to that pin binding. So yeah, that is the Iseo Perfecta. Oh, I should show you the body that this thing goes in, because it is impressive. Let's see if I can pull that out. So this is a chunk of metal here, This is the body that this lock actually goes inside of. It's got 5 enormous locking lugs. It's huge. I could barely fit it in the screen here. And yeah, so it's a pretty cool lock, as you can see on the inner side here. You have to, if you can go the right way, you have to pick it 360 degrees. That's a little unhappy because there's the other side of the lock is missing, obviously, but so if you have it fully extended, you have to pick 360 degrees to get this thing open. Anyway, that's the Iseo Perfecta. Thank you again, guys, for watching. If you got any questions, leave them below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.